What did I tell you? I told you all over the summer of 2020 it was going to come back around again and the unveiling was going to happen. You see this card? This is it coming back around again, and they snagging themselves up. And thanks to Kanye and this tour he's on, doing interviews, he just exposed somebody who I thought was cool. Matter of fact, that day, I told one of my friends, this is somebody you should listen to, Tim Pool. Now, Tim Pool, if you don't know who he is, he's an alternative guy. He reminds me of Fred Durst in the 90s. You know, Fred Durst was like the alternative guy. He was underground, and then he went Hollywood. But there's that moment where they go Hollywood and sell out and do like, music videos with like Halle Berry in it and everything. And then they got all mad at Fred Durst. Tim Pool just had that moment. And it was because of Kanye West. He rolled in there like a damn hand grenade and blew that whole thing up. All right. Now Tim Pool, he's supposed to be like the little skater. He's got his little rock band, and he's supposed to be the way to get news. But he showed his agenda, and he showed where he had the cabal's back because of Kanye West. So he rolls in there. He starts the interview off. You know how he starts the interview off? Talking about how Mike Pence called Kanye an anti-Jew. Okay, I don't know the anti-Semite thing. He starts the interview like that. So basically, just calling Kanye an anti-J word. All right, right there. Just you an anti-J word. And then Kanye and then starts to proceed and goes, well, he acts like he's surprised. Oh, I'm like, dude, that's bait. You just threw, that's called baiting, okay? And it's clear as day to see when you see the interview. And then he's trying to interview, how was the dinner? How was the muffins? How was the rolls? Did Trump bring in McDonald's for dinner? And then Kanye's trying to play along with it, and he goes, I gotta go. You just called me anti-J word, right? You all know what J word, right? You just called me anti-J word. I got to respond to this. And then he starts going into all the attacks that has happened in his life. He starts talking about how he almost got Michael Jackson by his trainer, who's like a CIA agent for Canada. He had like MK Mind Ultra, training or whatever. And he goes into it and said that guy wanted to inject him with lithium. And he looked at the dose. And after 4 days, they finally got the information. He said that would have been a lethal dose. And then he said the mainstream media would have just painted it this way. And then he starts talking about how they just debanked him that day, locked his account up, and then threatened to put him in jail. They were trying to figure out how to set him up and say he was trying to do some insider trading type stuff. And he starts talking about all this stuff, what they're doing. And Tim Pool is obsessed that he's just trying to blame the Jewish people, right? And Kanye's just like, I'm just telling you all the stuff that they've done to me, and they've been doing to me and terrorizing my life. And then he goes, who are they? And Tim Pool responds, the mainstream media, and he admits it. Kanye didn't even admit it. Kanye never said the J word. He never said it. He just said some of these people happen to be. And isn't it so funny that all this attack is going on, and Dave Chappelle said his joke about 2 words you don't mention in Hollywood, the and Jew, right? And what happens when Kanye did mention it? All this stuff has been happening to him lately. Debanked. Mainstream media painting him as a bad guy. Tim Pool attacking him. Okay? And then the funniest thing is he kept saying you can't identify a couple people as an entire group. And then Kanye catches him right before he slides out and dips out of the interview, which I would have too, because he gave him warnings. He said, I'm not going to sit here and defend myself like this Lex Friedman interview where he was totally attacked and another white man telling another black man how to talk. Okay? And here we go. Kanye gets him. He says, hey, remember when you asked me if I was running for president? Yeah, before this interview. And you said that I would do good with the black vote. Why did you ask me that? Because you think I'm black? I'll do good with the black vote. Everything that Tim Pool was trying to accuse Kanye of by grouping all the Jewish people together, Tim Pool can freely do it about the black people, the black vote. That was Kanye's whole point. And then when he started, first of all, he made Tim Pool say, oh, the mainstream media. And then Nick Fuentes jumped in and said, exactly. He started to talk. And then Tim Pool got defensive and said, no. That's when Kanye knew it. That's when you can see the cabal. You can see not only the mainstream media, but you can see the cabal. I saw it. I said, Tim Pool is deflecting for the cabal right now. He didn't just come out with the first video we're supposed to talk about the news. We're getting into this all of a sudden. You just had the ex-vice president, accuse Kanye of being an anti-Semite or an anti-Jew. You just did it, and you expect him not to respond and defend himself after he told you all the personal attacks, almost being Michael Jackson and poisoned to death? Come on now. Tim Pool, you look like a fool and you've been exposed. And I told you many will be exposed. They won't be able to help themselves. They'll keep getting tripped up. And then what did Tim Pool do? Instead of just saying, you know what, I apologize, I feel your pain, he doubled down. I seen him in a later interview where he was talking. He was just a later show episode, and he was just, and this is where I kind of was like, what's going on? Because he started talking about just how Kanye West is obsessed with all the Jewish people. And even Jon Stewart got on TV and let his people know. His people, okay? We know who Jon Stewart's people. He said, we got to stop doing this because it's starting to prove, all of this is proving Kanye's point. And he says that too in the interview. He goes, the only good thing about this is everybody can see it now. Just like I've been saying, there's a cabal. What is a cabal? I'm not saying the cabal is the J word. I'm saying there is a group of people, a silent political clique or faction, and this is my add-on, a group of a silent political group or faction broken into fractions to push the or their agenda. You get it? It's a group of people silently pushing their agenda. Having little Tim Pools out there as plants, having little Ben Shapiro. He's supposed to be the alternative guy, but as I saw him talk, all I saw was Ben Shapiro 2.0. Okay, but he's the guy with the skateboard in his hand. Ben Shapiro's the guy with the suit. Okay, these are the little guys that want to creep in as the new media comes, and there's more guys. And when I heard this story first break, I heard it from first Tim Pool, and then I saw Anomaly's take on it, where he had to do 2 takes. And I see everything that Anomaly said, I agree with. He tried to be a little weasel for the cabal, which Tim Pool was, and it worked on me for 2 years. I actually watched Tim Pool, bleeding heart liberal, turn into a more conservative guy. And then I saw another episode where he's pushing DeSantis, where I told you they're going to try to divide. The only thing they have to divide the Republican Party right now is to get them pitted against each other, because there's no Democratic or independent person that's going to go up there and actually do anything. So they need these two to tear each other apart. And this is why Tim Pool, now I get it. He's always talking about a civil war. There's a civil war. That's what they want. So he's been silently pushing this little agenda along the whole time. And I've kind of just been ignoring it. But now I see it. Now we can all see it. Kanye was right. He goes, at least now you can see it. He had to go in there and drop a hand grenade so we can see that Tim Pool is nothing but a fool in a beanie. Just like eventually we found out Fred Durst was just a little dude in his little red hat, and he lost everything after a few years. But he already built what he was, and he showed you he wasn't underground. He wasn't the alternative rock guy. He was ultimately a sellout, which it happens. Whatever, do you, baby boo. But don't try to be this underground little cool little Tim Pool and pull one over on us, because that's the type of stuff that turns me off. So I will not be watching Tim Pool any longer after he showed that he was a weasel in sheep's clothing. And his whole little act was shown and blown up by Kanye. And he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do, expose the cabal. And they're not going to be able to help it much longer. I saw it in my card ratings, and it just keeps on happening. Keeps on rolling along. It's come back around again. We're here. If you look back at my past card ratings, you'll see me predict it. It just takes time, and now they're all unfolding. So let's keep rolling, 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 rolling. We did it all for the nookie.